Well, here's a little story to kick things off. In 1967, you might have spotted a car cruising down Main Street that looked like it had a destination no one else could reach. That car was probably a Buick Skylark, a vehicle with a personality as complex as its audience. Now let's pop the hood and dive into what made this car tick. Underneath that long, sleek bonnet, you'd find the Wildcat 310 V8 engine. Rated at 210 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque, it certainly wasn't a slouch. Sure, in today's world of turbocharged, high-revving engines, those numbers might sound modest, but back in the 60s, it was enough to make you sit up and take notice. Performance-wise, the Skylark was known for its smooth ride rather than sheer speed. The suspension was designed to float over the road like you were driving on a cloud. It was more about comfort than cornering. Less about adrenaline, more about enjoying the journey. That being said, the Skylark could still deliver a respectable punch when you put your foot down. Culturally, the 1967 Skylark sits in an interesting spot. It was a car that symbolized upward mobility for many Americans. Not flashy like a muscle car, but undeniably stylish. It was often the choice for those who had made it, but didn't feel the need to announce it from the rooftops. You could say it represented a kind of understated elegance, a quality sometimes lost in today's automotive world. Now, it's not all roses and nostalgia. Let's discuss reliability. The Skylark had its quirks. Electrical issues were not uncommon, and the carburetor could be a bit finicky. The front drum brakes, the norm back then, didn't offer the stopping power we expect today, making modern upgrades almost essential for those who want to keep these classics on the road. One interesting nugget of information: the 67 Skylark was one of the last models to feature Buick's Nailhead V8. By 1968, Buick had retired that engine design in favor of the more modern 350 series. For some aficionados, that makes the 67 Skylark something of a swan song, a final hurrah for an era in Buick engineering. And let's not forget the design. With its flowing lines and characteristic mid-century proportions, the Skylark was a looker. The optional vinyl top added a touch of sophistication, and those sweeping curves were undoubtedly of an era when American cars had a certain swagger. So there we have it, the 1967 Buick Skylark, a car that may not have been the fastest or the most powerful, but one that had its own distinctive charm and practical elegance. It was a vehicle that reflected the aspirations of its owners: steady, reliable, and just a little bit luxurious.